We are back. Finally. 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks. 2 week break. I'm not even gonna call it a break. I think a break is when you schedule something and you say, you know what, I'm gonna put this in my plans that this is when I'm taking a break. This little hiatus was not planned. It was not planned. I can tell you that much. But we here. I'm excited. We have a great stream lined up tonight. Welcome to Built from the Break, the podcast featuring yours truly, Kyle Petties. I felt like that. What's that song? It was like, "Hey, Mr. Carter." There you go. Tell me, where have you been? That's how I felt over the last few days, few weeks. I was like, man, I done missed 2 streams. It was wild because when I missed the first stream, I was like, okay, people understand. It is what it is. We had some things going on. I'm gonna get to that here in a second. And then I missed the second week, and I was just like, man, ain't nobody really paying no attention. Like, they ain't gonna see nothing. And then I got some phone calls, and that's when I was like, oh snap, the community. Man, I appreciate y'all so much for checking on the kid. We've had a lot going on over here on the home front, and it has been a roller coaster. So I definitely appreciate the folks that have reached out. Hey man, you good? What happened to the stream? I had a couple of people hit me last week, and they were like, yo, it's Monday night. Like, what's going on? And I was like, I'm sorry. and I think last Monday, I want to say I may have forgot to actually post that I wasn't even streaming last Monday. So I know if it interrupted your schedule at all, you heard it here first. I'm sorry. If that messed up your schedule, your plans, maybe you had plans to sit back, grab some popcorn, listen to me ramble for about an hour. If that happened, I sincerely apologize for not putting that out. I didn't push that notification out. The week prior I did, but the second week I didn't. So before we begin, this is Built from the Break, the podcast. This is my mental health podcast. And I say mental health, I'm going to use that term a little lightly because we're going to be spinning into some different topics as well. But this podcast stemmed from me turning 40 this year. I always do my introduction. Y'all know I got to break it down for the people in the back, the new folks. I turned 40 this year, August 13th. Super excited about turning 40. But maybe some of y'all can relate to where you're approaching a milestone number, the grand old age of 40. Just solid number, nice little milestone, the halfway part to 80. I don't know, the halfway mark to 80, you know what I'm saying? So one of the things that's happening right now is both my boys are graduating this year, next year. So we're about to be empty nesters. And as we move and get closer to turning 40, one thing I've been really looking at is like, dang, man, there's been so many life changes. There's been so much stuff that I've dealt with growing up and suppressed. There's been decisions I made. There's been things I've done great, things I've done bad. And I was like, man, I'm reaching an age to where not only is accountability so important, but the second thing is knowing how I want to live the rest of my life. And some of that goes back to finding yourself. So this podcast is really started from a mental health spin as I'm going through therapy, but also bringing people along the journey to show you that therapy is cool. That it's sometimes you don't got all the answers. You don't got all the keys. You don't got all the resources and the tools. So sometimes we do got to sit back, talk to somebody about whatever we're going through, and then take a listen to what advice they have to give us. So that's the phase I'm in right now, is really just a big growth phase. Now, before I really kick things off and start talking about the week and what's been going on the last couple weeks and getting into the topic for tonight, I want to start this podcast like we start every single podcast, and that is the first. You know what? Next week, I just thought about something. Next week, I'm gonna make a whole new scene just for Prayer in the Poor. That's what we're gonna do. Let me write this down. And this is the creative brain right here. This will be happening, y'all. Y'all catching this in real time. So we're gonna do a scene for Prayer in the Poor. The reason I thought about this, I've been watching a lot of podcasts and just kind of seeing how people put their content out. And I like when they go into segments. They're like, hey, this next segment is called whatever. And they go into a segment and everybody's engaging with the segment. And then it's like, okay, cool. You know, the whole screen changes and it's a whole theme to it. I like that. So we're gonna add that next week, called To Prayer and a Pour. We're gonna give it its own cool little background and stuff like that. So I had some fun with that. Probably do some editing tonight. But anyway, we always start every single podcast off first by putting God first. So we're gonna say a prayer, and then I'm gonna talk about the pour. So if you're a believer, bow your heads. If you're not a believer, you probably want to bow them too, because the world is crazy right now. So I want to start off by saying, Father God, thank you for allowing me to get back onto my podcast, get all the resources and all the tools and all the technical difficulties worked out to where we can bring these messages back to the people in a healing, therapeutic way, where we can have real conversations, be real transparent, and take some real accountability and have a good time with the community. So I hope that everyone is having a blessed week. I hope that everyone continues to be blessed. I hope everyone that's coming back from Blue Atlanta that had a great, amazing weekend this past weekend, I'm watching the pictures or looking at the pictures, that they all make it back home to their destination safely. So I'm praying over my whole blue and white family, and we're going to have a great stream tonight. Therapy is okay. Amen. All right. So let's get into it. Let me pull my notes up. I did put a couple notes in. So about 2 weeks ago, around April 15th, a lot of people know I'm a tax preparer. That's one of the busiest times of my life. And Tuesday, I think it was a Tuesday that tax season ended on. And I was like, I can't podcast Monday night. It was a night before the deadline. And maybe the deadline was Wednesday, but I needed that extra day. I needed those hours. So some people are like, man, it's just a little bit of time. Listen, I get busy when I do taxes. Like, I be going crazy when I do taxes. So that extra 4 hours, or, without editing and doing the podcast, I needed all those minutes. So I was trying to beat the deadline for a lot of clients. We were able to do it and pretty much close out tax season. So that was the reason 2 weeks ago why I had to postpone the podcast. And then going forward, the second thing is, Kelly had a procedure. I want to thank everybody for their prayers and checking on her and coming by the house and sending food and flowers. And man, she got a lot of love. So it was pretty dope seeing the whole community show up and rally around her. And so that last couple weeks, I've been just making sure that she was good, taking care of her. And I just went in the middle space to even tackle the podcast. And we had another thing that was really, really just getting under my skin, and that is my internet connection. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about today. Y'all, I've been with Comcast. I'm calling names out, man. I've been with Comcast for at least maybe 5-6 years, probably longer than that. We've been with Comcast for a long time. Everything was running smooth the first couple streams, but lately, our whole neighborhood, the internet has just been getting crazy. It's been getting real slow. So when I was podcasting, what would happen is I'm running 3 monitors right now. I got my computer right here, which y'all can't see. I have my camera right here. So if you see me looking forward, the camera's actually up here. So I'm a little off, with that. But I got this screen. I got a screen over here. And the kids, they would get home. I'm podcasting. And then they hop on their devices. And then what would happen is I'm reading the chat, or I'm trying to read the chat. I'm trying to make sure I'm engaging with the audience. And I got the screen over here showing all my internet speeds and all that stuff I don't understand. I got little mixers and all this stuff bouncing up and down. Let me know if I'm talking. It's crazy over here. It's a whole lab over here behind the scenes. I might do a behind the scenes little showcase tomorrow, just so y'all my setup. It's a lot going on over here. And what throws me off is when I get into my flow and I feel like I'm cooking, giving y'all some good content. And then what happens? I see latency drop. I see my internet speed is dropping. I see connection errors. So I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. It's just everything it gets thrown off. And that really messes me up. It breaks my flow. And I'm just like, dang, I'm over here trying to, I'm trying to get into my rhythm. And I can't, because I'm trying to make sure the stream is operating. So what do we do? Sometimes you got to invest in yourself. The first investment, getting rid of Comcast, was beautiful, because we actually saved about $100 a month. So they just installed fiber optic cables in our neighborhood. And I was like, thank you that it's now available on the back end of the neighborhood where I live. So we switched over to fiber optics, Everything's been running smooth, man. I'm super happy. I've been running speed checks earlier today. Everything is running fast. I'm on Wi-Fi right now, and it's still running fast. They're sending me another pod where I can directly connect my computer. So it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better. So I'm super excited about that. I just got a quantum text message while I'm sitting talking to y'all about the fiber optics. So I'm super excited about all that. Oh, we did the prayer. I forgot to do the pour. So real quick, with the pour, one thing I was gonna say, they said 15 years. Dang, they said 15 years. That's crazy. One thing with the pour tonight on my podcast, every week, one of the things I do is called prayer and a pour. It's the first thing I do when I open a podcast. I put God first, and then I turn around, and it sounds so crazy, but I have a drink, alcoholic beverage by choice. But this is the thing. When I have a drink, it's more so like, man, you know, I like old fashions. I like classy drinks. So I usually try to mix something up back here, my little bar back here behind me, and I have a little sip. Tonight, I'm not doing alcoholic beverage. The reason why I'm not doing alcoholic beverage, I'm gonna get into here in a little bit in the podcast. But my sip that I'm sipping on tonight is brought to you by Mio. I'm not gonna show the bottle. I'm not gonna show the bottle because they're not paying me. I'm just gonna let y'all. I'm gonna show this much of the bottle. It's orange tangerine Mio in a water bottle. So I'm in the gym, man. I reset today. Actually reset today. Hit the gym this morning. Reset, and part of the reset with that piece is I definitely got to moderate my alcohol intake. So next week, maybe I have a little sip with y'all. But this week, I'm passing on the alcohol. But I got me a pour still. It's just water. It's water, flavored water. So that's what we're drinking on tonight. All right. So been with Comcast. Kelly put in the chat 15 years. That is insane for the speed we was getting. So our speed was terrible. We're paying about $140 a month. Fiber came in the neighborhood. We're paying $45 a month now. And my speed is literally 6 to 10 times faster than what I just had. It's crazy. And I'm paying a third of the price. So super excited about that update. And then I think, y'all, what else we got? We had the internet going. We had tax season ending. We had my computer. I was running off my government gave me a computer, man. I thought I could do everything with it. I thought that computer it got me through 2 tax seasons. I thought this computer could do it all. It could not. It was not running the speeds. It was not pushing out the power I needed to run this massive organization of a podcast that I'm doing here. So I had to get rid of that too. So a lot of changes have been happening, is what I'm trying to say, in the last 2 weeks. But I bought me a MacBook Air. Super excited about this computer. It's been doing everything I needed to do. I've had Macs before. Been a long time back on the Mac train here with the podcast. I got everything downloaded, everything streamlined. That's what I've been working on the last 2 days. It's just porting everything over, making sure that it's compliant with Apple. So I'm super excited. I love my computer, and it's doing exactly what I needed to do, and that is work and push this podcast out the right way. So that was another big change. The kids, man, the kids went to prom. So y'all, I'm just letting y'all know what's been going on the last couple weeks, man. The boys and everything I'm telling y'all, we done put on Facebook. So if you follow us on Facebook, you already kind of seen some of this stuff. But the boys did go to prom. They had a blast. They prom was pretty lit, man. They went to a hotel. They did the whole prom party at a hotel. Then after the hotel, they went back to the high school. The high school opened up at 11 p.m. So they went back to the high school at 11 p.m. for the after party at the high school. So they opened up the swimming pool, and we got a huge, nice swimming pool over at our high school. So they opened up the pool, and they opened up the basketball courts, and basically the school was open. So the kids were able to go back to a safe place, have a good time, hang with their friends. They went swimming basically after prom, which I think is just dope, to leave prom and go swimming. So they had a big pool party, basketball. They was doing it all, man. These boys, they got home at it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and they were just full of energy. Came right into the room and just started telling us all about their prom and everything that went down. So they had a good time. So appreciate everybody that was liking the photos and seeing how much they've grown. Some of y'all been with them since they were little tiny babies. But they grown now, man. It's kind of a sad day. Next piece. Next piece. I'm just rolling, man. I'm just rolling through these topics because it's so much to talk about over the last couple weeks. The next piece I want to talk about though is part of the poor. So, and it's going to kind of segue into therapy being okay. Like therapy. Okay, let me go back. One thing I'm not going to do again. One thing I'm not going to do again. I am not going to schedule my therapy on a Monday 2 hours before this podcast ever again. I actually told my therapist that at the end of therapy. She said, "So we're good?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm never going to schedule you on a Monday again." And she was like, "What's going on?" I said, "Hey, I got a podcast in about 2 hours. Actually, we got done at 5. So I said, I got a podcast in an hour. And tonight's podcast is over therapy being okay. And I just got done meeting with you. And I ain't okay." After that whole therapy appointment, I was just like, bruh, like some of the stuff we got into today, you get into the, like, she literally told me, she said, "I feel like, she said, we need to pull back a little bit. We can, but I feel like you can handle it based off of what you've told me and what you've already been through. So we just gonna keep going. We just gonna dump." And I'm just like, all right. So I'm thinking, like, I'm tough. Like, what possibly could you be bringing to my attention now, at the grand old age of 39? Like, let's go. And this lady, I just peeled an onion tonight. I peeled an onion tonight when I was cooking, and the way she peeled back these layers was just like the way I was peeling this onion earlier. Like, she was like, "Oh, okay, let's take off this outer shell first." Asked me about 3 or 4 questions, and I was like, "Okay, simple stuff." And then she just started digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm like, man, in my head, I'm just thinking, I'm not going to have the mental capacity to process. I got like a half a page of notes over here for my session. And I'm like, I'm not even going to have the mental capacity to process this information before I got to go live and talk about this information. So it's tough, man. It's tough, but this is part of it. I told y'all I was going to be transparent, let y'all in on the healing journey, and let y'all know what it looks like to even go to therapy. If you've never been or never tried it, it's something. So let's talk about something real quick. Back in the gym. So I'm back in the gym, and I want to say, for me, it was, I took the kind of 2 weeks off because I knew Kelly was having her procedure too, and I wanted to be home. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be present, and I just wanted to make sure that, like, everything was, just running at the speed it needed to run at around the house, just make sure she was good. But kind of fell off the gym for a couple weeks, gained some weight because, hey, when you sitting at home, you start eating like crap again. So I'm over here we ate good. I ain't gonna lie, I don't regret it. But I found this popcorn seasoning. Here my ramble. Orville Redenbacher dill pickle popcorn seasoning. Do not buy it at Fountain Walmart because I'm about to go pick some more up. But yeah, man, we in the bed just eating, watching movies, catching up, talking. So it was a very chill 2 weeks for me, especially because I'm always just running, and this is a chance to actually just sit down and just focus on one thing. So to me, that was a little bit of a break, but I'm just happy that, on the back end of things that she's doing well. But healthy vices, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about healthy vices before I talk about these 2 therapy sessions. April 12th was the last time I had a sip of alcohol. Like, probably last time I smelled alcohol. And then what? I didn't quit drinking. All right, I already know some people out there. You quit? No. I love, man. The crazy part about this, April 12th is the last time I had a drink. And my refrigerator was stocked probably like a week before that. So my refrigerator behind me got some good old sweet Voodoo Rangers in there. I got some White Russians in there. I had restocked. Like, I got some heat, boy. And I actually kind of want to have a drink now. But April 12th, I went out partying. So I went out partying. Me and a couple friends. It was just one of them nights. I was like, man, let's have some drinks, man. Let's have a good time. And when I left, and typically this is my thing, when I'm going through stuff or if I'm stressed out, typically I can have me a drink and I'll just chill out. Have me a little sip of some whiskey, some Hennessy or something. Not Hennessy, but something bourbon. I got some Woodford Reserve back there. I pour a little bit of that, throw a big ice cube in there, let it water down a little bit, play the game, watch a movie, just something to take my mind off of things. But it's been so much going through my head that it's been hard to even like navigate that. So I was like, you know what? Let me let me uh let me go out. Let me go out and just have a good time, get some good food, hang with some friends, and I'm about to go out and just enjoy myself. So I went out, had a good time. We was at a good friend of mine's restaurant, man. We was out there drinking, having a good time. And for the first time, and I don't know, I probably in my life, this was like the first time I had alcohol, and it didn't do what I expected it to do. And what I mean by that is, I was expecting to get just that chill moment. You start laughing, you open up more, you have a good time. I thought that's the reaction it was gonna give me. Man, I just got like depressed. Like it was like weird, man. It was like when it finally kicked in, and the liquor kicked in, and I had a good bit to drink, and it was weird because even when I was drinking, I was like, man, I don't feel nothing. So I was like, let me get a shot, and I don't take shots, so I was like, let me get a couple shots. Took a couple shots, and I'm telling you, like, I just didn't feel nothing, and I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just drinking, like I'm just drinking, and I ain't tasting nothing, I ain't feeling nothing. I don't know if it's because I ate a lot that day, whatever, the way it was sitting, I would just pour me another drink. So I leave, and it's time for me to go home. And I hop in the car, and I'm headed home, right? And as I'm heading home, I start to speed. And it was a controlled speed, but it was like, okay, I'm on the back road. I'm on my last little stretch getting home. I just want to be home now, like instantly. And it's crazy because I remember the night, and I just remember just flooring it. I remember just completely just opening the Durango up. Like, I don't even know how fast this truck go. And I just floored it. Got all the way home, got in the house, and as soon as I laid down, I was just like, bruh, that was stupid as hell, what you just did. And it was like all this guilt just came down on me, and I'm just like, I don't even know where it was coming from. I was like, man, I don't know. I just felt, I don't know. It was a bad place. That's what I would say. I was just mentally just in a bad place. And like I said, typically when I have a drink, I chill, or I get more talkative. I'm having a good time. I'm vibing. It's like I'm a real social drinker. Like I had some drinks and I just life of the party. Start having a good time. This one was like the total opposite. And I'm sitting here just like, man, I done sped home. I'm driving fast. And it's one of those things where people, I've heard it asked because I was, in the military. And they ask people questions like, have you ever done dangerous things because you're depressed or anxiety or, whatever's kicking in? They ask, have you ever done something dangerous? Have you ever hopped on your motorcycle and tried to do 220 miles an hour or whatever the case may be? They would ask questions like that because I guess, I don't know the therapy behind this piece. I got to study this part. But I guess when people are going through stuff or feeling depressed or disconnected, they will end up doing something very dangerous. And a lot of times it's not like a suicidal thing. It's just more so, it's more so, it's like a thrill, like a rush, like they want to feel something. And I don't know if that was it, but I just know I didn't want to feel like that again. So even when I got home, and it's so crazy because when I got home, as soon as I hit the bed, that's when like the liquor kicked in. And now I'm just like, like I feel like terrible because I had drunk a lot. So now I'm like, I done made it home. I done drunk a lot. I'm just ready to go to sleep now. I'm ready to go to sleep. And I remember when I woke up, I was hungover. And I know exactly what happened. I woke up and I went to church. Yep. I woke up next morning because that was a Saturday night. The next morning, so I didn't get in until like 3 o'clock in the morning. Next morning, I went to church. I want to say I went to, actually, I think I went to the 9:30 because I went golfing after church. Y'all, this day was wild now you think about it. So I'm hungover completely. Like when I say hungover, y'all, I am hurting. And I wake up, probably still smell like alcohol. I took a shower, threw some clothes on, and I went to church. And I remember just sitting in the pew, and I was I was sitting in a section I never sit in, but I was just sitting there, and it was so crazy because I was like just sitting there and I was listening to the word, and I felt like I wasn't there, if that makes sense. So I'm sitting in church, but because the night before I feel like I did something super reckless by driving like that, and then making it home, then being hungover, but still going to church hungover. And it's crazy because Jelly Roll has a song about this, like literally to the T, exactly what I did. And I had never heard the song, and I found out about that song that day too. So everything. This why I believe in God, because it was too many coincidences. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, Jelly Roll has a song called "Hungover in the Church Pew." Literally, he has a song called "Hungover in the Church Pew." I had never heard that song before until I was hungover in the church pew. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, my head, I'm so drunk or hungover in church that I was wanting to tell the pastor to turn the music down. I don't know if y'all ever been that drunk, but I'm in church and like the bass hit and the guitar's playing, and I'm just sitting there just like, yo, like turn the music down. Just talk about God for a minute at a low tone. Like, your boy hurting over here. But then I'm just sitting there and I'm just like listening to the word. I forgot I can't remember the full message, but I remember that I wanted to cry, and I was just like, I don't even know why I'm about to cry. And then I was just like, I only got no tissue to be sitting here crying. But in our church, every third pew has a box of tissue at the end of it. So I'm looking, because I'm sitting on the aisle of the far right of the church, but I'm sitting on the left. I'm on the far right pews, but on the left side, the aisle seat. And I'm looking over at the other pews, and I'm seeing box of tissue, box of tissue, box of tissue. And I'm in church by myself, and then I look over, and I'm like, man, I need to go over there and get that box of tissue because I'm about to cry. I can feel it coming. And as soon as I went to go like this to get up, right beside me was a box of tissue. Literally, right beside me. And I'm just like, oh, snap. Like, I can sit back. I grabbed a piece of tissue, and I sat back, and I literally just sat there, and I just had my tissue, and I just started crying. I don't even know why. I just started crying, and I was just like, man. And I remember getting up, and I was walking out, and I could see some people who had noticed me in church. And you know, when you kind of see somebody's about to talk to you, or they're starting to try to make their way over to talk to you, I did not want. Hold on, y'all. Please be very careful. My son on crutches right now, going down the steps. But I seen people looking at me, and I was just like, they about to come try to talk to me. And when I tell y'all, boy, same as this picture over here on the right, you see, boy, I threw them glasses on. It was one of them, and I got up out of there. I totally ignored, and I can see the people who kind of made eye contact. Oh, there go Kyle. Like, kind of, nah, we ain't talking. I got up out of the church so quick. Got to my car, sat there for a minute, and then I went to the golf course. This is all April 12th or 13th, whatever that Sunday was. So I get to the golf course. Now I'm about to play 9 holes of golf with my homies. I pull up. We always have a good time. I get there a little early. I try to put something on my stomach, and we get out on the golf course. And they like, bro, you good? And I was just like, I'm hungover. Like, y'all, when I say hungover, I feel like I'm drunk. Like, I drunk a lot. So I'm on the golf course now. The sun hitting me, and I'm just like, bro, I am cooked. And they was like, you good? And one of the guys I was with drinking, he was at the golf course too. He slept, he didn't go to church, so he slept all the way until it was time to go play golf. I didn't. I went to church. So I'm like, bro, I'm hurting. And he was like, you gonna be able to play? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play. I was like, but I could barely stand. The light hit my eyes. I'm like, everything hurts. Everything hurts. And I remember just making it home, and I was just like, I can't do that again. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm about to quit drinking alcohol forever. It was just more so like, for the first time, one of my vices, which is, I do like to have a drink. So it was like, I grab a beer or something, grab some, my favorite drink is an old fashioned. So I make me an old fashioned at the house and make it nice and pretty. And I sit up here and sip, play the game, watch some TV, just do my thing, watch some TikTok, laugh, just chilling. That's my night. But this was the first time where I was just like, where alcohol put me mentally in that situation, I didn't want to do something stupid, and I didn't want to feel like that again. So I was like, I gotta take a break. And then shortly after, or that week, that was when Kelly's about to have her procedures too. And then I was like, I need to talk to God, like for real. And I had that conversation, and I was like, yo, I'm about to fast. And it wasn't fasting food, it wasn't fasting sugar and candy. It was literally like, I'm about to fast alcohol. And I was like, it's April 12th. I'm going to remember this day. I ain't about to have nothing to drink until stuff is back, at least in a positive direction in my life, to where I can feel like I can socially have a drink and then not put me into a downward spiral for the first time in my life. So I just stopped. I haven't had a drink since April 12th. What's today? Today's May 4th. Yeah. To me, that's a long time. And I'm talking about, because I like to go out to eat. I go to Applebee's. Hey, let me get a little margarita. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's a long time not to have a drink. So 30, almost, man, we're going to come up on 30 days soon. So that was a long time. So I was like, and I mean, I've done it before. It does 75 hard. You couldn't drink, stuff like that. But that was fitness stuff. But this was like mental health. This was like, no, you don't need to drink right now, because whatever your ass was doing last time you had a drink, that was dangerous. Like, you could have killed yourself. You could have killed somebody else. Like, anything could have happened with me driving home that fast that night. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and put that to the side, because that's not giving me the reaction that I wanted. So that's just being fully transparent with y'all, man. Like, I would say find a positive vice. My positive vice is the gym. So I do CrossFit. So I'll be back in the gym in the morning. This morning I was in the gym at 5 a.m. Had a good workout. Tomorrow I'll be back in the gym at 5 a.m. ready to go after it again. So my thing was like, I'm about to just lock in on my health and my fitness. I want to get stronger. I gained some weight. I'll go ahead and lose these couple pounds that I gained. It's about, I say couple, about 7 of them things. I gained like 7 pounds in like 2 weeks eating like crap. So little detox and get this stuff up off of me real quick. But yeah, I was like, it's time to, start shredding again. Like, I really want to take my health and fitness serious. I do want to be able to go back, have a social drink, maybe on the podcast on Monday nights again. But for right now, it's on hold. It's just on hold. All right. So that's where I've been kind of mentally. And then coming off of this therapy session that I just had less than 2 hours ago, life has been lifing. So now we're going to make a little pivot. I'm cool too, so I don't need everybody to call and check me. God, you good? I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just this is built from the break. Built from the break. Your boy is broken, and I'm building back up, and I'm getting back to where I need to be. Right? Man, it's good. That tastes like Kool-Aid. So let's talk about this first therapy session. Let me tell y'all about how this went. I had my first therapy session. I wish I could say the lady's name. I can't say my therapist's name, obviously, because I don't want y'all looking her up and knowing who this funny story is about. But it's so crazy because our names are kind of similar. Y'all never guess the name, but our names are kind of similar. And it's just like, again, it's like all these signs. When I saw her name come across, and it was like, the VA has referred you to, here's your therapist. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then I saw the first and last name. I was like, oh, wait, what? And I was like, why her name look like my name? But cool, man, cool person. So my first therapy session, I'm out at dinner. So we went to a business lunch. I was at a business luncheon, and we was at BJ's up on Nevada. So if y'all ever been to BJ's, y'all know BJ's got some good food. So we was up on Nevada and in Colorado Springs, and we're eating. And I was like, okay, I got to get up out of this restaurant because I got my therapy session, and it's in person, and it's all the way down south in Fountain. So I got to get back down south. So I take off. I get all the way down south. I make it to the parking lot with I'm like 30 minutes early. Now, military and me, I hate being late. I just hate being late to stuff. I like to show up 10 minutes early and all that good stuff. So we get there. I get there. Oops, decline that call real quick. I get to the therapy appointment. I'm in the parking lot, and it's like 30 minutes early. So I get up. I'm like, let me go ahead and just go in. If anything, I sit in my lobby. I can play some games on my phone, whatever, until she's ready for me. So I go to open the door, and it's locked. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess, she either with a client or I just can't come in right now. Whatever the case may be, I can't get up in there right now for therapy. So I come back out and I'm sitting in my car and it's hot as hell outside. So I'm sitting in my car and I'm like, man, I know, 10 minutes early, the door should be open any minute now. I'm getting impatient. So I see this lady walking down the sidewalk and I look at her and then she kind of make eye contact with me and I'm like, I don't think that's my therapist. So she unlocks the door and she walks into the building and then I see lights turn on in the building. I'm like, okay, maybe this is her. So I'm waiting a second and I give her about 5 minutes. I didn't want to just, as soon as she get out, open the door, I just bum rush her. Hey, it's me. So I was like, give her a second to get in, get situated, whatever she got to do. And then I'm going to go in and, check in. So she goes in and she's sitting, she goes into the building. So I'm outside. I'm like, okay, let me go up here and go ahead and go into the building too. So I get up, I walk up, open the door is locked. So I'm like, well, damn. So I go back to the car. Remember, it's hot. So I'm out here sweating. So I go back to the car and I send her a text. And I say, hey, just let you know, I got here a little early. I'm outside actually in the white Durango. I'm sitting in the car. So whenever you're ready, I'm ready to come in, for my therapy session. No response. So then I'm just sitting here. I'm like, dang, like, I know this lady just walked in here. So I'm just waiting. And then I see a guy walk out the building. So now I'm confused. I'm like, how you walking out? And I didn't even see you walk in. Where was this mystery guy at? But he was I could tell he was a veteran. He was walking out, probably just got done with his therapy session. So now I'm like totally lost. I'm like, okay, my therapist just unlocked her doors. I didn't see this guy come in, but he came out. So then my therapist texts me and she says, no, I text her first and I said, hey, I'm here early. I tried to come in, but the door is locked. That's what I text her. So I said, so I'm sitting outside in my car. She texts me back, can you come in? I text her, hey, I just tried to come in. The door is locked, so I'm sitting in my car. Let me know when you're ready. She texts me back, can you come in? So I'm sitting here, I'm just like, is she talking to the right person? Like, I literally just told you your door locked. Like, how can I come in if your door locked? So then I'm sitting in the car. I don't text back. I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, this therapy session, I'm already getting agitated. Because I done rushed from all the way north to south. I got to use the restroom. I got to pee. And I'm sitting out here in the car, and this lady is like, what's going on? So then the door opens, and she's standing in the door. I get out the car, y'all. I get out the car, and I'm walking up to her, and I say, hey. She said, Kyle? I said, yeah, my name's Kyle. And she said, oh, my name is so-and-so. It's nice to meet you. She said, I keep the door locked because I don't want random people just to walk in here when I'm in the middle of a session. So then that doubles down on the text messages. Like, well, so why would you tell me to come in? Why would you tell me to come in if you know that you keep the door locked so people don't walk in? So I'm over here just like, now I'm hot now. I'm over here just like, this my therapist? Really? This the psychologist I got to deal with? This the one? So I'm getting a little agitated. So then I go inside. She sits me in this little room. I get agitated by the room because in my mind, I've only been in therapy like maybe a couple times in my life, but times I did go, the rooms were like immaculately clean. Like it was like OCD type clean. And I went in this room, I sit down and I'm on the couch. She comes in, she sits across from me. And I should have loaded the picture. I took a picture of the room. So I sent it to my sister. She's like, this the room they had you in? I was like, bruh, I don't know if that was like them trying to break me in, trying to see what my mental was like, but yeah. So she's sitting in front of me and she goes, so I want to, do the intake. So we start the little intake process. She's like, I just got some papers I want you to fill out. And she's like, as I fill out these papers, or as you fill out these papers, she's like, I'm gonna run out the room real quick and I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Because this dude, I want to make sure he don't call me 5 times in a row. All right. But she's like, fill out the paperwork. So I'm sitting here, I'm filling out the paperwork. So I'm like, okay, cool. No, too easy. Fill out this little paperwork, intake forms. But remember, I still got to use the restroom. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, dang. So she didn't close the door and everything. So I'm in this room and I'm like, I don't know if the door is locked. So let me see if the door is locked because I gotta get up out of here. I got to use the restroom. So my dumb ass, I'm sitting in a therapy session. I open the door and I peek, and I'm just like trying to see if anybody, you know what I'm saying, if she in the hallway. I'm looking left and I'm looking right, and I'm like, okay, let me just see if she out here, and I don't see her. So I'm like, okay, bet. Where the restroom at? So I already filled out the paperwork. I left it on the couch, and I see across the hall there's a door, say restroom. So I'm like, I'm looking again. I feel like I'm a convict. I was like, let me get up out of here. So I don't know, it's like one of the old little cartoon. So I sneak out and I went to grab the handle to the restroom, and it was locked. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, why all these locked doors, man? So the door is locked. Now, if you gotta pee real bad, you ever been in a situation where you gotta pee so bad that your bladder gets more excited the closer you get to a restroom? Like the steps that you take closer to the restroom, the pee stream has started. Like, it's like you like, I'm almost there. Dog, the way I had to, I was like, oh, like I had like a cramp in my kidney. I was like, so I grabbed the handle, it's locked. I'm like, damn. So I'm like, okay, somebody in the bathroom. But I'm thinking maybe there's more people in this clinic. So I go back in the room, and I'm sitting there dang about to cross my legs. Like, I'm sitting there like, I gotta pee. So she finally comes back in the room. And I said, hey, before we get started, hey, before we get started, do you mind if I run to the restroom? I said, I just ate lunch. I was way up north on Nevada. Drove straight here. I didn't get a chance to use the restroom. Do you mind if I use the restroom before we get started? And she's like, sure. Yeah, sure. It's right across the hall. So I'm like, all right. So in my mind, I'm like, why she acting like this? I'm like, I just gotta pee. Like, one, ma'am, you didn't open the door. Let me go pee. So I go over there. I open the restroom door, y'all. I opened that restroom door. It smelled like somebody died in that restaurant. I mean, that restroom. So I go in the bathroom. I'm sitting here trying to pee. I'm sitting trying to hold my breath. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in the military again. I'm like, bro, like, it is bad. So I come back out and I'm like, oh, it's only me and you in this whole building. That was you. Little shitty boo little girl. I'm over here like, nah, man, you ain't gonna tell me that was you. That was you. Oh my gosh. So I ain't say nothing, but I can tell when I came back in the room, I could just tell by her demeanor a little bit, and we was getting off to a rocky start. In my head, I'm like, we cousins now. Like, what I just experienced over there, we cousins. Like, we family. We go together. Like we in this together. So we sit down, we start having a therapy session. Therapy session wasn't bad. Day one intake, what they want to know is they want to pretty much just kind of see what brought you to therapy in the first place. So I started going down my list of things that brought me to therapy. I got my book. I always bring my little book here, and I had my notes. I had my journals. I had stuff I've been journaling, everything. So I was like, hey, this was going on in my life, X, Y, Z. Like, these are things I think, was referred to therapy for. These are things I want to handle or take care of while I'm in therapy. I want to get some resources for these things. So we start combing things back. So she starts off with basic stuff. Are you married? Who's your spouse's name? Kids? What's their names? What's their ages? How long you been married? Then she goes back into like parents. Are your parents alive? Just like just therapy 101. Are your parents alive? Do you have siblings? What's your siblings' names? How many siblings do you got? Did you grow up with your siblings? What's that relationship like? So we're going through this. Now, if you've seen episode 1 of Built from the Break, the podcast, well, it's not episode 1. It'd be episode 2 technically, which is the Tale of the Five Dads. Then you'll understand my childhood traumas when it comes to my upbringing. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, she asked me about my upbringing, my dad, and I said, well, it's a little tricky situation. I said, so let's talk about it. And I explained to her the story of my dad. Basically, my mom and my dad getting divorced when I was young, my mom moving us to Atlanta, and then remarrying. And so I just kind of started giving her the rundown of that life, of what was going on. But I was very detailed. on the situations that caused the divorce, everything. I was like real detailed because it's therapy. She looked me dead in my eyes And the whole time she was like typing. She was typing. And while I was talking, she was typing. Then I noticed I said a few things and she stopped typing. And then she started just listening. And I was just going through my story. Same thing I pretty much said on episode 2. And I was just going through my story, telling my 5 dads and father figures and kind of my mindset now. And I started kind of walking her back. Like, hey, this is where it kind of started. This is where I'm at. And she just sat there and she was just like, okay. And this is where I started losing faith, because I was like, bro, my therapist can't help me. So she was like, okay. Okay. So we are going to tackle this a little slower. And we have a lot of layers that we have to get through. And she was like, thank you for being detailed. She said, but we are going to have to definitely back up a little bit. And she's like, when you said this, did you mean to say this? And I was like, yes, ma'am. Straight face, like, yes, ma'am. And she was just like, okay. So one of the things that threw her off, and this is a little bit of my upbringing, small town. You know, my mom, my dad, they got divorced, but my dad did have one child out of wedlock, which is my stepbrother, not my stepbrother, my little brother is what I meant to say. So yeah, my little brother out of what's it? Is it called out of wedlock? Well, I don't know what it's called. He cheated, had a kid, so that's just the honesty to it. But my stepmom is my stepmom and my mom used to be really good friends, like damn near best friends when they were younger. So my stepmom is technically like my mom's ex-best friend. So I said it that way. I was like, you know, my mom, we was really good friends. Somebody in her circle, that's who my dad's married to now. And I just kept going. Like, to me, it's normal. Like, I'm 39, so this part don't like affect me at all. I'm just like telling my story. Like, hey, this is part of it. So she just kind of paused. She's like, wait. She's like, oh, go back. And I was like, oh yeah, no, you heard me right. And then I also got my brother. We don't call him, you know, he's my stepbrother, but we don't say use stepbrothers. That's my brother. And that was her son. And we just kind of just brought everything back up to speed. But then I really started noticing, I was like, I don't think this lady has handled cases. I ain't saying my case is like delicate or intricate, but it's some layers to it. And I was just wondering, I was like, I wonder if this lady's even ever handled situations like this, because she's kind of giving off that she's getting overwhelmed. And that's the worst thing I want to feel if I'm in therapy, is that my therapist don't have the answers or is feeling overwhelmed. So we go through the rest of therapy. We started talking about my relationship. We started talking about some triggers, like some stuff on some, you know, wanting to be loved as a kid, or always wanting to have your dad around, or, you know, you probably hear these stories 1,000 times, the tale of the fatherless child, or whatever it is, the absent dad, the dad that went to go get milk and never came back. That wasn't even my story to that extent, but it was just the way my life progressed and the decisions my mother made and the way that we were moving and things like that. It was just, I had multiple guys and multiple father figures in my life. I say multiple guys. I had multiple father figures in my life. My mom had pretty long relationships with each of them, but it did expose me to multiple men in my life. So that part was, I got it. And then she said something. She said, I'm really feeling like that you are yearning for a love that you never received. And I was just like, lady, gone somewhere. Like, I'm 39. Like, ain't nobody at 39 out here trying to say, oh, I just wish my dad would just tell me he loves me. I thought that. But then the more she kept talking, the more some of it started making sense. And she was like, she's like, she said, who validates you? That's what I wrote down. She basically she's like, who validates you? And how did you get through these troubled times? And I was like, I suppressed it. Like, what am I supposed to do as a kid? I don't make none of these decisions. I'm not in no control. I ain't got no money. What do? You suppress it and move on. So I suppressed it. I suppressed my whole childhood, a lot of stuff that I didn't like. I just put it to the back of my brain because it's like, what can I do about it? I'm not in the power to control it. I didn't have I say like father figures where it's like, hey, son, let's go fishing. Let me teach you how to ride a bike. It was like some of that stuff was like it tried to happen, but it just wasn't no type of consistency in those areas. So the only safeguard to that is suppression. I've had a lot of sporting events. I was in band. I was in honor choir, not honor choir. My son's in honor choir. I was in honor orchestra, playing the viola. Didn't have no dad at no recitals, or no concerts or anything like that. So I get done. My mom was there. Sometimes she would bring a friend or something like that. But I got up and it was like that was my mom, and that was it. Like I wasn't never looking for my dad, but I would see kids who would go hug their dads and stuff at the end of those type of rehearsals. So I'm sitting here, I'm just thinking like, damn, like that would have been nice to have that. It's over now, but it would have been nice to have it. And then I started thinking about my kids, and I was like, I try to show up for dang near everything. Sometimes I'm just really, really not in the space for it, but I really try to be active in their life, like showing up to concerts, football games. I just want them to turn around, even if they feel like they in the game by themselves or they feel alone. I want them to be a turn around, like, oh, my dad up there, my mom's up there, and that never be a question where my kids could ever say my dad wasn't there. Like my dad didn't show up. Carter got hurt today at school. I was already rushing home to do. I had to cook dinner, do therapy, and then do this podcast. But my mindset was just like, I just got to go lay eyes on him because I would cancel this podcast. So I need to go assess the situation for myself to know before I just make a rash decision. Because as soon as I heard that he had hyperextended his knee or something and sprained ankle, it looked bad on the text. I'm thinking in my head, I'm canceling the whole night. We ain't doing the podcast. I ain't doing this therapy session. All this about to cancel. I'm not going to see my son. But then when I got to urgent care and I seen the mood he was in, and he was all jolly, and he was like, yeah, knee kind of went back a little bit, ankle super swollen, he had an ice pack on it. Kelly was there. I'm like, okay, he's good. I can go home. I can get dinner started. I can go on the podcast. I can still do my my therapy session, which I did tonight. And I was like, I can still do everything. And it was just like, but I was like, man, this is about to be 3 weeks in a row, but something has happened to where it's pulling me away from coming onto the podcast. And I was like, I have to podcast. I have to get back. I don't want to fall off of the wagon because 2 weeks miss turns to 3 weeks, turns to 4. And then at that point, it's like, you might as well just quit doing this. So I said, no, I'm getting on the podcast. I got to talk to people because it's resiliency. And today's therapy session was the first therapy session where we actually started to peel back some of the layers. And that was a tough therapy session. And like I said, this happened at 5 o'clock. Therapy started at 4. We got done at 5. I was on this podcast at 6. So as soon as I got off of therapy, the first thing I went downstairs to do was I checked on the food because I had it. Kyle was watching it, so he was kind of cooking for me a little bit. And I went and checked on the food, and I ate. And I came right up here and got on the podcast. And when I say I haven't had a chance to process this session of therapy yet because it was heavy, and then I came right on here. But I also didn't want to like just shy away from it and just say, you know what, I ain't doing the podcast because nobody gets anything out of it. So some of the things I got out of today, and like I said, I haven't fully processed this yet. So maybe next week I'm gonna get more into it. But next week we be back on topic too. Today was a catch up. We had to get back into the flow of things. But next week we're back onto the childhood topics. So we about to get back onto another super duper great topic. But she said one of the things I have 100% have done in my life is I have suppressed a lot to the point where it is like it's so normal for me to suppress. Like it's like I don't even have to try to suppress something. It's normalized at this point. It's a super duper trauma. I can suppress like the best of them. The issue is suppression has led to other things that she believes, and that's why I feel like in my head everything's spiraling out of control. She says suppression can lead to projection, and again, I gotta kind of study that. But she's like, when you start suppressing a lot of things, then you start projecting traumas onto other people. So basically, now the way I view this, because I'm an image person, is I'm basically like a lit fuse walking around. But everybody that touches me, they just get a little bit of pollution. They get a little bit of the burn. It's like a lit fuse walking around. So now it's like, am I being the best steward for everyone around me when I'm going through something? But I'm not allowed to go through anything because in my mind, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I got to still show up, I got businesses, I'm a leader, I got to be in front of the crowd, I have a government contract, I'm teaching 40 plus service members tomorrow or next 2 days or Wednesday this week. I'll be at the Air Force Academy teaching some of the finest people in the world how they find a job when they get out the military. I don't have time to be in a bad space. I don't have time to be off my game. So the only thing I have time to do is suppress, so that way I can show up and perform. But then at the end of the night, I'm left in my own head with my thoughts again, because now it's like, Kyle, you still haven't dealt with you. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is finding Kyle. Like, what makes you happy? Like, you have not addressed you yet. Everything she told me today, she said, how was your last 2 weeks? Every single thing I said to her had nothing to do with Kyle. And she was like, so what did you do for yourself? And I was like, I played the video game. Like, that's my happy place. You know, I played some Crimson Desert. Like, I got some hours in on that. And we peeled that back. And she was like, how was that? And I was like, it was kind of crappy because my internet was kind of going in and out, sitting right next to Kelly. I was making sure she was straight. So she's like, so you were basically taking care of somebody. I was like, yeah. She's like, what have you done for yourself? And that's when I said, well, I've been playing golf. But I took the last 2 weeks off because I had to make sure that everything around the house was good. And then I cleaned the house. So one thing I did do for myself is I purged the kitchen. I put that video up. So I talked to her about that. And I was real excited about that because I needed to clean that space. And I've been moving on to different rooms. I did this room. I remodeled this room. I've been slowly cleaning up spaces to unclutter my brain and just get order in my life and get the chaos out. So that was one. And then she said, I believe you have a developmental gap. This is 2 hours ago I learned this stuff. I haven't even researched it yet to know what I'm even talking about right now. But I know she told me that I have a developmental gap. And she said, technically, we all have this. Everybody has it. It's just how severe your developmental gap is. She believes my developmental gap was from having the lack of I don't want to say I had a how can I explain this? I had a providing father figure. I didn't have a present father figure. So that's the developmental gap. So basically all my needs were covered. My stepfather was there, but he was a provider. He was never in the house. Like, he was just, money came in, bills were paid, he was out building the company. Only time I saw him is when he came home I literally kid you not, to eat, take a nap on the couch. I never even see him get into bed. He always took a nap on the couch. He would eat at the couch. He'd be watching the news. He'd pass out on the couch. I remember always pulling his shoes off. He would go to sleep, wake up, he'd take a shower, change clothes, get right back in his limo. He was a limousine driver. And then he would be going back out doing trips for celebrities, and it was pretty cool. I went to all the Atlanta Hawks games. He was real good friends with Dikembe Mutombo, Muggsy Bogues, Christian Laettner. Those guys, I still remember their names so well because I was going to all their games courtside because my stepfather had tickets. He was driving these players to their games. So that was pretty cool, but it was never like, it was always providing. It was never like a present father. Like, we wasn't having father-son conversations. That just wasn't happening. That never happened. It wasn't no pull me to the side. It wasn't no birds and the bees. I ain't never had that. So apparently I have a developmental gap of not having a present father figure in my life, even though I had 5 dads. So that was an eye opener today. And then we talked about, these are the words I got to go do my research on. So she said, I want you to research idolization, objectification, vulnerability, justification, and then rationalization. So she gave me all the zation words. So apparently the way I move has expressed or identified some of these characteristics: idealization, objectification, vulnerability, justification, rationalization. And she said that one of the biggest things that I'm pursuing, she said, I have a pursuit of love and admiration. And I was just like, okay. And then that's one of the layers that we got to peel back. So this is therapy, man. I'm open to talking about this because not a lot of this is not like, some of it is a surprise, but a lot of it's not. A lot of it's like, because I'm starting to see kind of like how one thing leads to another is what it really boils down to. And I was like, okay, pursuit of love or pursuit of admiration. Okay, admiration. Everything that I've been molded, I guess, to be as a man since growing up was in leadership roles. I was never able to play the back seat. I was never able to be just a bench rider. It was more like, if you're going to do this, you're going to be number one, or you're going to be front stage, or you're going to get the leading role. Or I remember my first little acting gig with Romeo and Juliet in school, I was like, they was like, you doing leading role. Like, you're going to audition, you're going for the leading part. I remember we did had to sing I Believe I Can Fly for, was it elementary school or middle school graduation? Leading role. I wish I could sing still. Excuse me. So, it was always like this, you're going to be center stage. You're going to be in the front. And then I always heard stuff. My mom was a big contributor to this because she was like, my boy's the leader. My boy's leader. My boy's leader. You're a leader. You're a leader. So she always instilled that into me. And even when there was opportunities that were presented, she was like, no, let my son do it. He's a leader. He could do it. So it was always like the spotlight was on me. And then I think naturally what happens is admiration comes from that because, one, you don't want to look stupid when you do anything. So you try to be the best at it. So now I'm striving to be the best at anything I touch. And it comes from a place of I want people to look at whatever I build, whatever I do, and say, "Dope, that was dope." And it's not even like to stroke my ego. I just don't want the opposite to be said. I don't want the opposite to be like, man, why you start this podcast and your sound messing up, this messing up, the internet lagging. That I changed my internet. I went and bought me a new laptop to make sure that the stream was good. I went and made sure my lighting was good. Tonight I want a little bit of a darker theme, but I can turn this thing up in a second. I went and made my graphics myself. I went and I'm building my whole brand image right now. Kelly's helping me out with some of this. I'm on Canva. I'm learning how to edit. I was like, no, if I'm a podcast, I don't have a team right now. I don't have moderators in the chat. I am running the whole show as of right now. And as this thing grows and we do different content, I start having guests on, we start really sharing and pushing this out to the masses, then I may have to start putting more people in places and have a team in place to make sure things run smooth. But the admiration part is I ain't trying to look stupid on nothing that I do. I want people to go back and be like, man, hey, how'd you do this? And as crazy as it sounds, that is a form of admiration, and that's something that I feed off of. So the negative part that is when you don't get admiration or you don't feel like you get love, then you start searching for it. That's where it gets to become a slippery slope, because now you start chasing anything that will give you attention. That could be new opportunities, new jobs, new streams, new podcasts, playing new video games. That could be anything from relationships to friends to just anything that will give you that small stroke of ego, to sports, to like, man, I'm about to go play golf. But when I play golf, I got my own clubs and I got my own hitting mat. I'm also watching YouTube all the time, my form. I love the group that I'm going out to play golf with, but I want to be better than all three of them in golf. I want to go out, and every single time they just like, man, can you just hit off today so we can have a chance? Like, I want to be that good. And then that's it. I want people like, man, like, dude, like, how'd you get so good at golf? And like, man, I was self-taught. Like, I was just watching YouTube videos and I just kept on practicing, kept taking swings. But that's kind of like that hunger. Same thing with me in business and finance and with my Primerica business. The same thing. It's like, I don't like losing. then I look back and I see when I see people ahead of me, I'm just like, man. And then especially when people start talking, I'm like, man, here they go. Now they talking and they ahead of me, So it's just one of those things where it's like always driving you to be admired, for people to say, dude, you killing it, dude, you doing a great job. Hey man, we love the way you did this, man. We see you. Hey man, we love you. Like you start, like that becomes your whole life, is something that's being fed off of. And it's like gasoline. So when that starts running low, all type of bad stuff start happening. It really does. That's when you start turning to bad vices. That's when you're like, man, I just want to feel something. That's when you start drinking more, or you start smoking or stuff like that. Thankfully, I ain't never been no smoker. I always hated it. My mom, she doesn't smoke anymore, but when she used to smoke Virginia Slim menthol lights. Knowing stuff like that is a trauma. To know the exact cigarette brand all the way down to light. No, not the regular Virginia Slim menthols. Virginia Slim menthol light. I was having this conversation with my mom the other day because she's here and she was on the couch. We were talking, and I was trying to get her to understand the images that I have in my head of traumas that happened as I was growing up, and trying to get her to understand that I don't remember a lot of stuff. Like, I could watch a movie, and a month later, I can't even tell you what that movie was about. Like, some of that stuff I just don't remember. I have to look at a preview and be like, oh yeah, that movie was good. But for me to remember colors, smells, visuals of different traumatic situations in my life from when I was like 5, 6, 7, that's called trauma. That's the only thing that can engrave those images, those sounds, and those smells into your head. It's a trauma. And now that I'm realizing that, my biggest thing is I just want someone to not even take accountability, because there's no accountability to take, but acknowledge it. Just acknowledge it and say, dang, that is a trauma. Sometimes they're like, oh man, you tripping. And then guess what I do? Yeah, you're right. Let me go ahead and suppress that. Now I don't talk about that no more. And then it goes back into suppression. So this whole notion, I believe, when people say, man, I ain't going to therapy this, therapy that, I would say give it a try. And not only would I go to therapy, I'm going to tell you some situations where you should go to therapy. Number one, if you're listening to this podcast, you should go to therapy. For the simple fact of just no matter where I don't care how great your life is going, just go to see why your life is so great. Go to therapy. Just go and say, I feel like everything is perfect. Like I feel like everything's A-okay. I got money in the bank, credit score good, groceries in the house, kids are fit, whatever it is. And just say, hey, everything is going great. But I just want to do a therapy session to see, how to even be better, how to navigate when everything's going great. And then obviously you can go to therapy as a response. You got things going on in your life, you go to therapy so you can get the resources to navigate different areas of your life. Another thing I would say is, and I had wrote this down, when it comes to therapy, is I would recommend that everybody seek not only individual therapy, but if you're in a relationship, I would seek marriage therapy or marriage counseling. And if you're planning on getting married, I would 100% do premarital counseling. When I sit back and I look at as I'm figuring out who I am and just kind of learning more about myself and what really makes me tick, when I really look back, I'm really noticing that a lot of this stuff could have been handled with therapy. Actually, I would say just premarital counseling, because then I would say in premarital counseling, you will find out who you are in a sense, and then how two people mesh well with each other. That's dope. That's one thing I think I commend people who are doing that now. I know some friends that have done that who did premarital counseling. And I was like, dang, like, counseling is so new to me anyway. But when I hear people do premarital, that's kind of scary. Because what if you and your person like vibing and y'all got like a great relationship? Y'all been to the movies, y'all dating, y'all eating, everything is just peaches and cream. And then y'all decide to get married. But then you say, well, let's go to premarital counseling. What if you go to premarital counseling and then you discover things that make you not attractive to your spouse or the person that you've been spending all this time with? that's scary. I'm not giving people excuses on why they don't go to therapy, but I can see that being a reason. I can 100% see that being a reason why people say, man, I don't know if I want to go to therapy, because you know that someone who has the skill set, the knowledge, the licenses, the psychology degrees to tear your ass apart, pick you apart, and know what questions to ask to get to the real root of problems and who you really are, what happens is you're scared to get exposed. That's what I believe. I believe you're scared to get exposed for who you really are, because then you know that you've been a poser, or that you've been having this facade up the whole time. And if someone else, a third party who is just unbiased, who is there to just specialize in healing and all that good stuff to make sure two people are compatible, or can at least navigate around each other's weaknesses, that person is there and designed to ask the right questions. And they're trained to do it at a high level. So now some people may not want to go to that type of therapy because they're like, what, I don't want my spouse to know about this about me. So then they don't go. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't, it's going to come out sooner or later. Everything comes to the light. So it's going to come out. So sooner or later, there's going to be a situation that's going to happen where your true form is going to come out. Your true colors are going to come out. And now you're going to be like, dang. Or that you're going to hurt the other person. They're going to be like, man, I wish I would have known this person was like this. They've been like that their whole life. You just didn't know it because you didn't know you were in the honeymoon phase of dating. And then you got married. And now you're finding out, oh, snap, this is not who I thought I married. This ain't it. So it gets real dark. I'm thankful that that's not my situation, but I've seen that. I've definitely seen that. And it's a situation now, I think with me, and I go back to just speaking on myself, is as I'm finding out what makes me tick as a person, it makes it easier knowing how to live life and how to be wise and how to know what situations to put yourself in and what situations not to put yourself in. Because at the end of the day, we all have like this path. I'll say this. If I'm on a diet, don't take me to Dairy Queen because I'm getting an Oreo Blizzard. Period. So it's like it's like if you know who you are as a person and you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses, then when you 100% have identified that and you know how to navigate, you actually become 10 times stronger because now you know how to navigate in situations. When you don't have those tools and you don't know who you are as a person, then you wonder how am I always in this situation? Why am I always, how did I relapse and I'm drinking again? Oh, you relapsed because you went to a bar and you went with a group of friends who everybody drinks. So what the hell did you think was going to happen when you got there? You're going to put your coin on the counter and just say I was super? No. Like you expose yourself. You're in proximity of stuff that you were not capable of handling and navigating. But when you truly, truly, truly know yourself and you know your strengths, then you will be in areas that will make you stronger. And when you know your weaknesses, you will not only remove yourself from situations that you know you're going to be weak in, but you'll also remove people out of your life as well that can cause you to be weak in different areas. So now you're going to be very intentional about the friends that you make. You're going to be very intentional about the relationships that you build because now it's deeper. Now it's like, oh, hold on. I see where this is going. Oh, I like the way this person lives. I like the way this person brings up these topics. I like that this person's always positive. This person's always pouring into me in a positive manner. I want that person in my circle. So then you're going to start knowing how to build a strong community is what I hear all the time. And a lot of times, like now for me, is very, very small. I was having a discussion when I went to the barbershop today. I was having a discussion with my barber, and we all go to the same church. I didn't know everybody in the whole barbershop. All the barbers went to the same church I go to. So I only seen one, but they would tell me they went to, we had this thing called Friday Night Fire. So they were telling me they had went to that all together. And I was like, oh, dang, that's dope. So we was in there just chopping it up, talking. And then it turned into a thing where they started asking me questions. And they were very detailed questions. It was like Some of it was financial, and then some of it was like strict like relationship. Hey man, how do you navigate this? And then they just asking me, and I'm just like, why the hell would you ask me this question? But at the same time, I took a deep breath and I was just like trying to figure out, where is this coming from? Like, why are you asking me this question? Why did you feel like I would have the answer to this question? And then I really started noticing the space that I'm in. And I was like, Kyle, God's putting you in a place to mentor these guys. Like, y'all all around the same age, but you got something that you can give to them right now. So we had a conversation. We had a really good conversation, and one of the conversations was pretty deep, because it was about giving up. One of the guys was like, man, I just want to give up. I was like, give up on what? And he was like, man, relationships in general. And I was like, any relationship that's worth fighting for, bro, you got to fight for it. Like, don't be out here like giving up. I said, for what? And I said, at the end of the day, what are you doing to improve anything? And it's like, not trying to be like the pot calling the kettle black, whatever it's called, but it's just like, I'm gonna give you what I'm doing. I'm gonna give you the resources that I have right now. And the resources I have right now is, number one, you're doing the right thing because you found another resource, which is God. So at least you rooted in something. That's a huge piece. At least you're grounded in something. And that's one of the best things you can be grounded in. So I'm like, okay, bet, you grounded. So we can start there. Now, what's the next thing that you're doing? Because like this paper say, projection, you can't expect something that you're not given. That's when we start to project. Oh, you're not doing this. Well, you're not doing it. I've had plenty of mentors that say most people who argue in marriages are people who, the person that's unhappy or doing an arguing is a person that's arguing about stuff that they're not doing themselves. So if it's like, oh man, I like validation in my relationship. Well, are you validating your spouse? Oh man, they never tell me I'm pretty. Are you telling them that they're pretty? Oh man, they never wash the dishes. When's the last time you washed the dishes? So it's like one of those things where it's just like, before you project something that you're not getting, you have to ask yourself, are you even trying in that area yourself? Or are you even showing up in that area yourself? And if the answer is no, then start there. And don't make it a big announcement. Just start doing it and just seeing how naturally things change. Now, I don't have the answer for the back end of that. Because what if you start doing everything? You're like, God, I'm putting out, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm paying the bills, I'm washing dishes, I'm cleaning the cars, I'm gassing up, I'm doing every single thing. And she on the couch eating Cheetos. And I'm like, hey, players, she might not be the one. But no, I ain't gonna say that. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that side of the spectrum. So I would just say, with all of that, I think, I'm just gonna say I know that therapy is good. There's so many different levels to therapy that can assist in so many different areas. You know, from grief therapy to marriage. We talked about marriage counseling. We talked about trauma therapy. So many different therapies. I ain't no psychologist, but the therapy I'm on is tackling about 5 of them things. There's like 5 different areas over here that we have to now go back and start to dig deeper into each of those 5 categories that she gave me. So mine was idealization, which that kind of scares me a little bit, because I don't know the psychology form of idealization, but I don't want it to be idolization, because I'm reading the Bible and I ain't trying to have God mad at me. So ain't no false idols over here, big Jesus. Objectification, I gotta look that one up. Vulnerability, which I know that one. Justification. So I'm doing this because, whatever. You're justifying, bad behavior, you're justifying good behavior. Whatever it is, there's justification. And then you got rationalization, trying to rationalize. So some of those I kind of get, but like I said, the objectification, because that's always sounded really, really mean. It's like, because I always heard in terms like objectifying women, and I still don't even know what that fully means, but I had to look that up. Or idolization, she gave me an example of you're building an image of what you want, but then when you don't get it, you go into a dark place, and then it can lead to those other things. And I think a lot of us kind of do that because we hear it all the time. I watch it on TikTok. I watch a dating thing almost every night. There's this comedian named Malik, super funny dude, but he holds a dating panel on TikTok every night, and I watch it. And every single one of them they do idealization every single night, because the first thing he says is, "What are you looking for in a man? What are you looking for in a woman?" And guess what that person starts to do? Fucking build a bear. That's what they start to do. They start putting all these pieces together themselves, and they're making an ideal of the person that they want. So they say, well, I want a person that's 6 feet tall. Okay, so this is basically a Build-A-Bear workshop. Now, you got your 6 foot tall bear. What else do you want? Well, I want them to have a heart of gold and a heart for serving people. Now you're putting the stuffing in. And what else you want? Well, I want them to have a 6-figure job. Okay, and they just keep going. And that is an ideal of what you want. So now you created this image, and now you're chasing this image, and anybody that falls short of that is not good enough for you. Anybody that falls short and has any type of lack, they're not going to be good enough for you. But you just try to build the perfect person, and ain't nobody perfect. So it's like, are you going to help? What if the person doesn't have a 6-figure income? What happened to just, I want someone I could trust, I could love, we can laugh together, we have a good time, I can call them my best friend, we ride or die, that is my dog, that's my ace boon coon. What happened to that? And then I would love for that person to make 6 figures. Are you helping that person build to making 6 figures? Oh, I want this person to be 6 feet tall. You can't just build that. They got some surgeries you can do now, break your legs and all that stuff. But the moral of the story is, are you even helping that person get? Are you just making an ideal of this person that you want out of life if you're out there dating right now? Or are you actually helping? Or are you seeing like potential in someone to say, you know what, I see potential in this person. They treat me well. They're nice. They're kind. They got a loving heart. They may not be where they're at right here in this area, but that's something I can help them build on. If they're willing to learn, if they're willing to work on that area, that's somebody I can help them build in that area. I've seen couples. I love those stories on somebody. And it might just be me, but I love them stories where a dude will see a woman and she's like obese or she's like way overweight, but shorty can cook, she can clean, pretty face, she got the characteristics, she got the personality, and she's just a big girl. And then the dude end up dating her, and then gets her into a fitness routine, gets her eating healthy, and then she snatches. I'm talking about IG model snatch. And now everybody like, dang, girl, what happened to you? And all these dudes trying to holler, but it took that one dude, and sometimes not take anybody, but sometimes take the person themselves to see that in the mirror. But a lot of times it will take a second person is like, hey, man, we're going to do this together. I know I got a couple of friends right now, like couples they gain weight together, went through a lot together, and say, you know what, we about to get into a fitness routine together. And now they're getting fit together. And I'm just like, yo, that's so beautiful to see couples working out together. Like I see it in my own gym in the morning. I got great mentors that show me that every single morning, rooting each other on. Tomorrow I'm lifting heavier because I just found out that his wife lifted my max today. I was in the gym. I thought she said I thought the number was an error. I think the highest I lifted today was like 225. I did 225 on what was I doing? Back squats. I did 225 back squat, and my max is like 235 before. I never really try to max it, but I probably do higher. But it was like 235. And then I heard her say, yeah, I did 235. I did 225. She did 235 today. I was pissed off. Left out of the gym. I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait till tomorrow. I'm starting at 250. I gotta set the bar. Hey, big dog over here in the corner. Big dog over here. But nah, man, I'm getting off topic. This is a good podcast. I'm not supposed to say that, y'all are. But therapy is okay. That's the moral of the story. It is 7:27 Mountain Standard Time. It's about 3 minutes before this stream ends. I don't like to go more than an hour and a half. So I just want to say, man, I appreciate the folks that checked on me. I appreciate the folks that have said, hey, Kyle, you good? What's going on? You need to pull up. Let's go grab a drink. Come over to the house. Like all the invitations. Let's go play golf. Whatever it's been. I definitely just appreciate the love, the support. Everyone that's reached out for our family. Especially with all the stuff we've had going on over the last really year. of just trauma and loss and cancer and all the stuff that's just plaguing our family right now. Definitely just appreciate everybody, all the prayer warriors, all the folks in our corner that have been just like pouring positivity in. And the last thing I'm going to say when it comes to this therapy piece is go heal. And you may lose a lot of people that you thought that was in your circle, but pay attention, because one of the strongest things that happens is when you get right and you heal and you come back stronger. It's almost scary, because you're gonna start thinking about all the people who like abandoned you, is what it's gonna feel like. And it's gonna force you to heal on your own. And with professional services like therapy and spiritual services like God and things like that. But when you come out of it, you start to have this empowerment of like, almost like you don't need nobody. Cause it's like, man, in my darkest hour, y'all wasn't there. So now that I got through it and I fixed it, now everybody the door ain't the same circling back around. Cause now you're going to be so changed that either your circle is going to change or you're going to elevate your circle. That's only two things that can happen. Your circle going to change or you're going to elevate the people around you. Because you're going to be so much different, you won't even fit into the same puzzle pieces that you were fitting into before. And I think that's the dopest part about growth, is knowing that when you are truly in a new mental and truly in a new space, dude, you're like untouchable. That's the beautiful part about it. But this is built from the break. You got to get broken down. Sometimes get your head dunked into some water, held down a little longer than what you expect. And then when you come back up, now it's like, okay, it's go time. It's show time. And your whole mind can be renewed. And big shout out to my brother Roderick, man. Hit me up. He was like, bro, when you pray to God, he said, pray to God for a renewed mind and a renewed spirit. He said that prayer every day. A renewed mind and a renewed spirit. Basically, God, get rid of all my old thinking and give me new thoughts. Give me thoughts that will help grow myself, help grow the people around me. So renewed mind, renewed spirit. Man, my name is Kyle Petties. This is Built from the Break, the podcast. We are now live on YouTube. That's the only announcement I forgot to make tonight. So if you saw in the chat, you can follow the YouTube page. I'm about 4 episodes behind on loading, because the YouTube just launched yesterday. I already put 2 episodes of the podcast on YouTube. I have 4 more episodes to go to move over to the YouTube channel. So if you would like to see the previous episodes in order, they will be on YouTube. And I'm going to give a deadline by Sunday at the latest. I should be able to have everything edited before the weekend. So this one has to get edited too. And then it'll be in the rotation to go live and premiere on YouTube. So I moved everything, long form content like this, to YouTube, because it makes it easier for people to go back, watch the content, comment. It's just a safer place to store the content as well, because Facebook does change a lot, and I just don't want to lose these videos. So as we're building the content, it will be on the YouTube platform, and you can always go over there, click on the playlist, or actually on YouTube, on the Kyle Worldwide page, you can click on podcast as a category, and you will see all the podcasts in order from the days they were shot. So everything will be organized, and everything will be just easy for you to find. So appreciate everyone that tuned in. Appreciate the comments. I don't care if it's 50, I don't care if it's 1. We're going to rock this thing out like it's 1,000 people in the room. That's what we do. So I just appreciate all the love, all the support. Built from the Break, the podcast. Kyle Worldwide. I'm out. Y'all have a great night. Salute. God bless.